You talked about gamification. We constantly use it, in our work. Uh, do you use any principles of hooked? How do you hook people into it ethically? Uh, do you have a story about that? And maybe one of the product that you did.
I'm just thinking, yeah, the hook. So, I mean, I guess in the most simplest formats, we're talking about, things like compelling calls to action and things like that. So, I mean, not a particular project, I don't think, but in my work, I say I don't do any UI, I do. I kind of just tone it down because I think there's people out there who's way better than me. But yes, and I have worked on a number of projects that have been user interface projects, and one or two actually that come to mind are dashboard projects, which are really interesting. And that's kind of displaying the right information in the right areas of the user interface. And again, that's very much dependent on knowing what your user wants to see, isn't it? So it's validating that data, as it were. But I think the hooks, I mean, if we take it to its most basic level, then we're talking about persuading a customer or a user to do something that will help us achieve our goals as a business. And that's maybe something else that we could get onto later as well, because a lot of people are a little nervous about talking about the profit thing and the user thing together. I'm not. But it's designing for, and again, it comes back to knowing who the customer and user are. What do they want to hear? What's the tone of voice that we're going to use on an application or a website? Are we going to speak to customers in the first person, for example? So, shop, is it shop now, or is it, for example, shop my collection or shop my favorites? So I think hooks are something that should never use any dark UX patterns. We should never use any persuasive patterns to pull users and customers down a route that's going to not benefit them and us. And they have to be honest, but they have to be compelling. And there has to be also a level of affordance in those CTAs. So there has to be something that changes as a user hovers over or clicks on a particular hook. But I do think language is a large part of that and forms a large part. And that's when we come into the content design part of UX, isn't it? And it's understanding the copy. But then, again, like I said just a few moments ago, it's all about coming back. What does the customer and user want? Who are they? And what's the tone of voice that they want to hear from you? And using that sparingly, but impactfully in that experience.